Hello, everyone. Welcome to Balanced Path. I'm Rosanna, and today's podcast, I've got with me Dolphyn Bochman, who is a registered holistic health practitioner, licensed massage therapist, Jikidan Reiki instructor, holistic nutritionist, and martial artist. She is also the owner of Infinite Freedom, where she offers a complete package of improving one's health in all four quadrants of life, including mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Dolphyn loves helping others create a balanced lifestyle through the philosophy of regeneration. She's the only Shihan master teacher of Jukidan Reiki in Saskatchewan, Ontario, Canada, which is the original Japanese teachings of Reiki. Dolphyn also holds a Bachelor of Education from the University of Saskatchewan. And teaching and healthy living have always been her passion, and she feels blessed to be able to share her gifts with others. Welcome, Dolphyn, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with us about balance, regeneration, and longevity.
Thanks, Rosanna. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. So let's start with understanding this whole concept of healthy aging and what does it mean in today's world?
Well, we know that our population we are staying alive longer than our ancestors. But the question is, what is the quality of that aging? And I think that's always a, a topic that is interest to me. It's all about quality versus quantity. So that's one thing that I like working with people about is yeah, we want to age gracefully and we want to enjoy those golden years as much as possible. So it's not just about hitting that chronological number, it's about, enjoying our age regardless of what decade we're in.
Right, exactly. And because a lot of, when we say healthy aging, people tend to think about older, like, 70 and 80. But really, healthy aging is all about, like you said, starting early and so that you can age gracefully into those years. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, there are so many misconceptions about aging. And so, do you want to talk a little bit about those?
Well, I think for me, I like to bring people's attention to what I just mentioned as chronological age versus biological age. So, like you said, it's quite interesting how I can have a client in their 20s and yet I will, do an intake with them and shocked to see that, their bone density is that of a 70-year-old or
Wow.
or just people's vitality is not equivalent to either their age or just their desire of what they want to be able to do in life. So, really important to not just focus on a chronological age. So, just because you're young in the chronological age, let's say you're in your 20s,
Hmm.
health issues that ideally you want to address them when you're younger, but also on the flip side, just because like you say you're in your 70s and 80s doesn't mean it's too late to reverse that biological age. And I've had
Right.
great, particularly with that older generation, my family, my parents, for example, my mom's now 95 and in her 70s, I could see this aging and kind of just giving into it or giving up. Just think
Hmm.
the way it is. I'm 70 now. I'm old. Arthritis, that's just normal. It's just like, no, there's things we can do about that. And so I've seen a huge transformation, in my mom, for example, and other I have. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge misconception is, well, I have arthritis, I'm gonna have to live with it because that's just the way it is when you get to my age or, um, but so there's a real importance of being proactive versus reactive in aging. And, you just with the example that you gave, it doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are, you can always reverse that, right? And being that proactive in that proactive phase. Yeah. Yeah. So what does balance mean then in terms of, your four quadrants, and in particular, maybe physical, emotional, cognitive?
Hmm. So when I'm working with people, particularly I do a group work, a group cleanse twice a year, and we do something called a medicine wheel. And this is a great exercise to really get clear on how balanced or imbalanced you are in those four quadrants of
Mhm.
life. And so just even if you kind of take stock of what do you do on a daily basis, and does it hit those four different quadrants? Are you doing something proactively for your mental health, emotional, spiritual, and physical?
Mhm.
And then we look at, okay, we just kind of look at what are we doing habitually, and then we can look at, well, is this a healthy habit? Because so in that mental component, do I just constantly worry? Do I just focus on what's going wrong? Okay, and then we look at, okay, what are some tools and tricks that we can do to turn that around? And we do that in each quadrant. So quite often we just focus on the physical in our life, and
Mhm.
really take stock of how important our thoughts are and our emotions, and what are we feeding that, like even what we're looking at on our screen, and things like that. What can we do to uplift and give us good nourishment for those other quadrants?
Yeah. So some tips then on promoting that balance. What would you suggest?
What a real simple exercise that I encourage people to do is first thing in the morning before you lift your head up off that pillow is you run through things that you're grateful for, and not just a list like, oh, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that, but you're feeling the gratitude. So for me it's just like I'm laying in my bed and I feel, oh, I'm so grateful for this warm cozy bed and this home that I have. I'm so
Hmm.
grateful for the sunshine that's pouring through my window. I'm so grateful for my little fur baby beside me, whatever it is, and so just running that gratitude before I lift my head up off the table to or bed to
Hmm.
for my day. uh,
Yeah.
because I don't know about you, but I wake up anxious a lot. And it's just like, why am I anxious? I was just sleeping for 8 hours,
Right.
right?
Well, because we have so many things to do, right?
And so it's just like, nope, clean slate, just take that
Mhm.
and then at least start my day that way. And then sure, things will come throughout the day, but I can always bring back that feeling state of, okay, yeah. And breath, of course, taking
Right.
breath is
Yeah.
really
Yeah, it sort of sets the tone for the day, right? I mean, because because we have a huge to-do list and we realize that as soon as we wake up, but and that would set the tone if we didn't do anything else, if we were anxious and stressed already, but just taking that time for the gratitude. And I really like the way, you say like feel it, because yeah, we could list, you know, t 10 things that we're grateful for, but feeling it is really, it really makes a difference with that.
and for
Yeah.
people have trouble sleeping, maybe at night, you're going to do that same exercise. So at
Mhm.
night, what I like to do is I like to physically write, don't type, but actually pick up a pen and
Mhm.
write for 3 to 5 successes for the day, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be something major. It can be the fact that, hey, I went out for a walk today. Hey, I got my 8 hours of water into me today. I smiled and, I didn't, fly off the handle with my family today.
Mhm.
Successes. And then again, once your head hits the pillow, before you completely fall asleep, you're going to go back through that gratitude exercise.
Mhm. Excellent. Yeah, that's great. And so, you mentioned regeneration. And so how do our bodies and minds have that ability, or, they do have the ability, right? So how does that happen?
So the philosophy of regeneration is actually an ancient Chinese philosophy. And back then they called it yin and yang. So, you might be familiar with that symbol, and that symbol is the symbol of balance.
Mm.
So essentially, yin can correlate with nourish, and yang can correlate with cleanse. So when we nourish and we cleanse the body with the right tools, our bodies will find its own inherent balance. So our bodies absolutely have the ability to regenerate if we give it the right tools. So one of the companies that I work with, all their food, all their products are based on this philosophy.
Mm.
So they're balanced, they're formulated to regene or create a healthy cell. So we want to eat foods in the right combination to create that regeneration. We want to drink clean water. So again, I'm a big promoter of bottled water or RO water, something
Mhm.
purified, just because there is so many chemicals in our tap water. And if you don't
Yeah.
believe, you boil water tap water a few times in a pot, and you will see sediment and just gunk start to build up on the bottom of that pot.
Hmm.
Clean, healthy water, super important. And then again, the same thing with feeding our mind. So there's an old Chinese saying, the mind commands, the body follows, and the chi flows. And so the mind, whatever the mind thinks,
Hmm.
the body will respond. And so you can imagine something, and the body will not know that it's not true or not real. So if you imagine,
Right.
right, a ripe lemon and slicing it in half, and you bite into that lemon and feel that juice pouring down your chin and it's juicy. I bet you right now, just thinking about that, your saliva
Yeah.
glands respond,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
They do.
yeah, so again, we have the power to, what do we want? How do we want our bodies to respond? Simply by just changing, tweaking our thought patterns. And then the chi is also energy, but
Mhm.
also your results. So your results will show as you start to implement this nourishing, cleansing, balancing, and both mentally, emotionally, and physically.
So can you talk a little bit about this cleanse? Is it, I mean, I've heard there's so many cleanses out there, but what is it? The one that you do? What does it entail?
So I'm glad you brought up. So I've been doing cleanses for almost 30 years now.
Mm.
Back, I whatever cleanse was out there, I experimented with it and I did it. And boy, I found things that worked, that didn't work. I almost literally died once doing one just because I didn't follow the protocol correctly.
Yeah, I've heard that they could be dangerous. So yeah.
I don't want people going, oh my God, right? But I mean,
Mhm.
happen. So over these years, then as I was doing my own experimentation, two things. One is that I realized that people were interested in it, but they were either afraid or they'd had a bad experience, like I had had. I know,
Mhm.
but many people like, oh, I tried that, it didn't work.
Right.
Or, oh, I've always wanted to try that. I've been curious, but I never knew how to get started. So that's kind of how I got started with developing the Infinite Freedom Cleanse. And this was from just realizing, okay, these things work, that doesn't. And so then over time, I created a program that really does, it's easy to follow, it's gentle on the body,
Mhm.
the results are profound. I would say the most common, I'd probably say about 100% of the time, 99.9% of the time,
Mhm.
thoughts that I get back from people after they do it the first time is, wow, that's way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Mm.
And I can't believe how much energy I had doing it. So
Right.
the most common comments and feedback that I get from the Infinite Freedom Cleanse. And I use the word cleanse very loosely because it's a catchword, right? It
Hmm.
people's attention. But really, what I've created is an opportunity for the body to rest and regenerate. And
Mm.
how we do that is we slowly come off solid foods. So it's not like you stop eating right away.
Okay.
Slowly, it's progressive. So each day we're taking out a food group, and we're also increasing our nutrient dense liquids
Hmm.
by the weekend. And I like to keep it to the weekend because most people have the weekends off. So by the weekend, now we're down to nutrient dense liquids, and that can come in the form of broths, juice, um, regenerative uh, drinks,
Hmm.
Chinese, like I said, from this company, Sunrider is the company that focuses on regeneration. So we
Okay.
their beverages, and everything is food based though. There is zero chemicals, there's no medicinal herbs. One of the problems with cleansing and those cleanse kits,
Hmm.
they use medicinal herbs which force the body.
Okay.
You might get a response, but if my kidneys are already weak,
Hmm.
herbs that force them, sure, the kidneys will do something. You'll get, oh, I got a cleanse response.
Hmm.
Now you drop back into even more depletion. So I really, really am focused on, we don't want to deplete, we want to nourish.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah. And so how long is this cleanse?
The process is 10 days in total.
Okay.
Like I said, the liquid days are on the weekend, and I always tell people just take it one day at a time. Some people last one day on liquids. Typically
Hmm.
days. Some of my veteran cleansers, because I got lots of people that come back, every year. We gather every year together. Some
Hmm.
go longer, 4, 5, 6 days. So it's an individual thing, but I'm just there to guide and to make sure that, okay, whichever you decide, this is how you're going to come back. You're going to follow the program. And through this program, we meet via Zoom with classes, and
Okay.
those really focus on the mental, emotional, spiritual body. So we talk a little bit about nutrition, but we really dive deep into things like, why do we have the habits we have? And
Hmm.
how can we truly get a handle on, the emotional links that we have, or just making shifts and changes. So I've done a lot of work with, say, Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins. Um,
Hmm.
so I bring in a lot of these teachings to share with people. But it's really a personal journey that we do as a collective.
So if someone, only lasts the 2 days or 4 days, but it's a 10-day process, are they getting the benefits that they should be getting?
Right. So when I say they only last 2 days, it might be only 2 days of the liquid. So we're
Okay.
still, then I would just say, okay, just go back to day three. What were you allowed on day three? So just stick with day three for a couple more days.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's still, the bottom line is we're just taking out a lot of junk, first of
Right.
all.
Yeah.
We're just eating whole foods. And sometimes people just don't, they're just not creative enough. So a big portion of the cleanse is giving people recipes, giving
Mm.
ideas of, for me personally, I'm a big potato chip addict.
Me too.
So I've had to learn, okay, well, what is it about that? Well, it's really just, I want something salty and crunchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I've, been able to gather different things of being able to, instead of that, unhealthy potato chip,
Hmm.
this, and it's like a homemade, or sometimes we even find some really good quality things that we can buy. And so these are things that I'm constantly also recommending. And what's great is that over the years, different participants also
Mhm.
their favorites, their recipes. I make a most delicious, healthy Snickers bar. Uh,
Really? Oh, okay. We're gonna have to include that recipe in the description below.
And so yeah, just little so these are the things that we get during this group experience.
Mhm.
And just having the community. So that was another reason why I was so happy to start creating this for others, because I was
Mhm.
so long by myself.
Yeah,
Community. You want to talk about healthy aging? That's one of the pillars, is finding community. And as
absolutely.
we age, sometimes we start to get isolated and alone. And
Mhm.
really, really important to maintain and find a good community. And like I said, like there's many of us that they've been doing this with me for 20 plus years, and
Wow.
really incredible community that we can draw support upon, myself included, because I'm doing the cleanse at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
And you guys are doing it. No,
Right.
I'm too. So yeah. And we all have our highs and lows. It doesn't matter how many times you've done a cleanse.
Hmm.
Body is always um changing and morphing. And so, there might be a cleanse where, oh man, the first few days I have a headache. And then the
Right.
next, you just
Yeah.
never,
You never know. Yeah. We're
and
just,
you're okay with it. It's
Mhm.
just like, you're okay. Just let the body do its thing.
Yeah. And you've got the support. Like, I love the community thing. Yeah. And so I guess it depends on the individual whether they would cleanse once a year or once every 2 years. There's no
Yeah,
rule.
there's no wrong, but what I have found, I used to only do it in the spring. I only used to do it once a year.
Mhm.
What I've found over the last, I'd say 10 years, is twice a year is really way more beneficial.
Oh, okay.
Mainly because um, the equinoxes,
Hmm.
they're really physically harder on our systems. And so you can probably already feel like in the spring or even now this late summer, like you start to feel a little more bloated. You might even get
Yeah.
like burning, kind of heartburn feeling this time of year. You might feel congested in your respiratory system,
Hmm.
right? And that's all just the digestive system saying, I need a little oil change here. I need a break. And
Yeah.
since I've since I've moved to twice a year for people, it's just made it so easy so that each when we come to it, it's not so extreme, right?
Right.
So
Right. That's excellent. Yeah. Yeah. It makes so much sense. So it helps with regeneration then of our bodies, obviously. And so how about longevity? Can you talk a little bit about longevity? And it's not just about living longer, is it? Or okay, so
our bodies, our cells can regenerate or degenerate, right? And we're constantly in a flux of degeneration. Let's not kid ourselves.
yeah.
That is a constant from the moment we're born into this physical world. But it's how can we replace or regene those cells as well as possible.
Hmm.
So the longevity component really is regening a healthy cell, because our whole system, regenerates it completely new cell form, anywhere from 1 month to 7 years, depending on which part of our body it is,
Right. Yeah.
can completely transform our body. But doing it just physically rarely works. I know lots of people that eat super healthy, right? They look fit, they eat
Hmm.
healthy, and yet they die of cancer.
Yeah.
And it's always this. So you can't separate the internal world from,
Hmm.
so it always starts from that internal world. It always starts from that mental, emotional body. That's why sometimes on the flip side, you can see the smoke and drink. And I had one of my instructors when I lived in San Diego and was getting my holistic health practitioner.
Mhm.
He had the worst diet. He ate ice cream all the time and all these kinds of stuff. And yet he was a specimen. Like he was like so fit and so healthy. But
Yeah.
much of his time he spent in meditation, and he really took time to work on his internal body, right? And
Hmm. Hmm.
it's about that balance. If you eat crappy, it's hard to have good thoughts and good feelings. I did that experiment. I tried the redneck diet when I first moved here, and
Oh,
here, 8 tons of meat and processed foods, and it's just like I got depressed. It was
yeah.
amazing. I got depressed. So it's that fine. It's you can't say one versus the other. It's that marriage of it all together.
Right, right. It's that mindset, yeah, and the nutrition, yeah, hand in hand.
So it was the mindset. Yeah.
I mean, look at who was it? George Burns. He lived in into his 90s, and he was smoking cigars all the time. And
Yeah. Same with Betty White, right? She always had
right,
she always said, yeah, I have a vodka every day. And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it definitely it's about balance. It's always coming back to balance, right?
Hmm.
Things.
Excellent. Yeah. And so, as we age, there are a ton of challenges. And so, how do we, you know, first of all, what are some of the common challenges that people face? And we talked a little bit about, some of them, and how do we overcome them? How to, you talked about loneliness. That was one challenge. Um, any other ones?
So yeah, what I would say first of all is again, just remember it doesn't matter where you're at. You can make a change today and it will make a difference. So regardless of, if you're 20, you're 30, you're 70, you're 80,
Hmm.
choose to make small, consistent changes, you will see benefit. So it's just like I really encourage people take small steps that you can manage and that you can stick to. I'd rather see somebody be consistent in one little thing than
Right.
try big changes and not stick with it.
Hmm.
Find one thing you can be consistent with it. And once you get that into your repertoire, then pick another thing, right? And so
Hmm.
habit stacking. So, but there's a few things that are key. We already mentioned nutrition,
Hmm.
good whole food. But I can tell you the very number one factor for not only living a long life, if you
Hmm.
talk Turians, this is what they will all say, but also you want to have quality, and that is you have to stay moving every single day.
Hmm.
Movement is key. They talk about how sitting is the new smoking.
Yes, yeah.
I would tweak that slightly. It's not necessarily just sitting, but how you're sitting, how you're standing.
Hmm.
Posture is absolutely the number one factor for longevity. I'm not kidding. And
Wow.
this is based on, again, from my studies with Chinese medicine.
Hmm.
See how in the Asian culture, these people are old and they're in the parks, and what are they doing? They're doing their qigong, they're doing their tai chi, they're doing their exercises, and they're keeping the spine erect.
Right.
Versus here we see a lot of older people and they start to get hunched over, and even their walkers force them to kind of hunch
That's
over.
right. Yes. Yeah.
With my mom, she needs a walker, but I'm always, mom, stand up. And so then, oh yeah, she stands up straight with her, right? And
Hmm.
um, keeping a straight spine, it's key. I can't,
Yeah.
people don't. really might not think about it, but that is huge.
Yeah, yeah. It's even also like, with the cell phones, right? We tend to like keep them here instead of maybe up here. Yeah, where we stand straighter. Yeah, where it's
Seeing this younger generation, I'm seeing younger and younger on my massage table with
hmm
this Dowager hump forming.
yeah.
It's frightening. So yeah, it's really important to engage that posture. And that way, you again, your diaphragm, your abdominal core, all those muscles are engaged and
hmm
you'll be able to breathe
Right.
better, so you can think better. When you're very isolated, now it's just like, even when like this
hmm
it's like you'll get more and more depressed.
You're contracted. It's like you're in this cocoon, right? Instead of being expanded and open.
Depressed when you have your shoulders rolled back and down and your spine straight. It
Yeah.
releases endorphins and hormones
hmm
from going into that depressive state.
Yeah.
So sitting, standing, sleeping, even be aware of how am I laying on my, when I go to bed, is my
hmm
spine key. I can't emphasize that enough. So that's one like little life hack that people take from today's webinar. Uh,
hmm
movement and posture is really, really key.
Right. And so, is there anything else that you want to add in terms of either the cleanse or what, I want to hear some key takeaways, but before we get into that, anything else that you wanted to add?
Just yeah, we do the cleanse via Zoom.
Mhm.
So regardless of where you are, in Canada or North America, I have people from all over North America that join me.
Oh, great.
So you're more than welcome to touch base. It's starting up next Monday, so September 23rd is when it starts.
Okay.
People want to reach out to me just to get more details. I
Yeah.
have.
And I'll have all the details in the description for everyone who's interested in connecting with you. So let's say they missed this one in the fall. Is it only the twice a year that you offered, or can people kind of do it?
So if you're going to do a cleanse on your own, and again, once people, you can just get the program form from me. You can purchase the program and I will go through it with you. If you want
Mhm.
to just on your own, that is absolutely an option. I just encourage people not to do it in the winter months. And I do have some clients, again, everyone's going to do what they want. Oh no, I got to do it in January, right? And I'm like, oh,
Right.
that is not the ideal time to cleanse.
So why not?
It's too cold. So that is the time, winter, though, that we're now in kidney bladder season in the Chinese theory, and that is the time to be grounding yourself.
Okay.
Want to be eating, really dense, rooted, grounding types of food. Now you can still eat healthy, right?
hmm
But the best time to cleanse is when it's warmer. So spring through summer through fall. Now, if people are listening on this in Australia, then obviously it would be winter.
Right.
So, but we definitely the equinoxes, because it's about balance, right? It's from the
Right. Yeah.
time. So that is like the absolute perfect time to just give the body that rest that it needs so that it can reboot. It's just like rebooting your computer. You're just kind of turning things off so that it can like your body can go. Huh.
It sounds amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, people can just get the program from me. But I really do recommend you don't get the classes, you just get the program.
Right. Right.
But once you've gone through it once, like I definitely have people that like they message me, I'm doing the cleanse, but I can't make the classes this year. I'm just going to do it on my own. Awesome. Perfect. You've already gone through it once. You know what to do. So you have that freedom then to do it when.
Right. Oh, that's perfect. Great. And so what are three practical tips or takeaways that you can tell us?
Okay. Well, I'm just going to kind of recap maybe what I've already mentioned is
Sure.
number one, um, find moments in your day, especially at the beginning and the end of the day, to generate that feeling of gratitude because that sends out dopamine actually it sends out serotonin, which is even more powerful than dopamine. So serotonin is just that feeling of everything is right in the world and I'm going to be okay. So
Mhm.
and that chemical for free, we have that in ourselves, like we
Right. Yeah.
in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So so that's number one is just take some time each day just to catch yourself in doing that, um, to just build up that good feeling. Number
Hmm.
two, find moments throughout the day to move, especially in that erect, tall spine kind of way. If you're, if you work at a desk a lot, or you're, student, or working at a desk or sitting a lot,
Hmm.
set a timer, and just even for 30 seconds or 1 minute, you know, take some open breath, open yourself
Right.
up, just take some deep breaths, shake the body a little bit, go for a walk on your lunch hour or after a meal,
Hmm.
like that. So just some movement and every day. And then three, of course, we talked about just focusing on eating, whole food. So,
Right.
right, like if you look at that package and there's a lot of a lot of weird sounding
Words that
words,
you can't even pronounce.
probably cut back, right? And
Yeah.
that is really whole food based.
Hmm.
And then I would finally just say, yeah, find some kind of community. And if anybody out there is, if you're struggling to find community, I'm here. So we have a community here, and regardless of where you are in the world, you can tap into us. And I'm sure Rosanna is the same way. That has a beautiful community. So
Yeah, yeah. And I mean it's just so great because, with the Zoom, I mean anything's possible. You don't have to be, in close proximity. You can be anywhere, like you said, and have that available to people. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, wow, you gave us a lot of food for thought. Thank you so much, Dolphin, for chatting with us today and about all those benefits and ways that we can be healthy as we age, and in particular, the importance of having that balance to make sure that we are healthy in our emotional, physical, and cognitive areas of our life. Spiritual, you also said. Um, and I appreciate the strategies that you shared with us. And, they're all strategies that are so simple to do, really. We don't need any equipment. We don't need anything really. There's, like you said, it's within us. Um, Thank you to our audience. If you'd like to connect with Dolphin, you can find all of her contact information down below in the description. And I'm going to also ask you for that recipe for the Stickers bar, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who would love to have it, if you don't mind sharing it with us. Um, and if
any of you have to join the cleanse, and we got ones.
all right. So to the audience, if you'd like to share any of your strategies as well, or stories on how you're taking care of your own health, please comment below so that we can all share our stories, and that's how we thrive. Um, Again, thanks for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that we can spread the word of this healthy aging message to others. So thank you again, Dolphin. Audience, thank you, and see you next time on the Balanced Path. Bye, everyone.